What's up, folks? This is Fane slash VA here coming at you with actually not a reaction video. Um, I figured I would do something a little bit different for today. I might move my reaction video for Friday. So, in today's video, I'm going to be doing a non-spoiler review of Sonic X Shadow Generations. This is actually, I think this is my second review I've done on the channel, I think. So, what are my first impressions of this port? I think it is very well done. I think it is a million times better than Sonic Colors Ultimate, which is a shame because, Sonic Colors is a game that is held in high regard, right? And the fact that Remastered dealt with so many issues, it's very obvious that's what led Sega to do this port in-house. Um, which honestly, at this point, they should just do that from now on. If they're going to make ports of their previous games, just do it themselves. Put some extra goodies in there, repackage it. If it's like older games, like maybe Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and Heroes, maybe put that as a collection with some goodies. And so, yeah. Where to get started? Naturally, when it comes to Sonic X Shadow Generations, when it comes to the Sonic Generation side of things, it is the exact same game that you played with some changes. Some of them well received, some of them has caused some controversy, which I will be getting into that in this video. I'm going to keep things unbiased. I will voice my opinions, of course, as I would, but I'm not going to attack any side of the argument. I'm not going to attack Sega themselves. These are simply my own opinions, my own words. So yeah. Let's get so pretty much it is the exact same game that you played on the PS3, the 360, the PC. Just it's been slightly remastered. They didn't do much with the remastering, which honestly that game didn't need it because cell shading video games always seems to age good graphically. That's why people have said that Unleash still looks good despite that game coming out all the way back in 2008, especially those cutscenes as well. Um, there are some differences with Classic Sonic's character models. He resembles more like how he did in Sonic Superstars in terms of his quills. Um, Classic Sonic still plays the same, so either, you know, if whether you're a fan of how he played in Sonic Generations or not, he still plays the same. He's still super fast. Because at the time, right, they claimed that they weren't able to get Classic Sonic's physics done correctly in Sonic Generations, and as we now know, it is possible for them to because of Sonic Superstars. And of course Sonic Forces as well. It is entirely possible for them to make Classic Sonic's physics and movement work similarly to the Genesis games in 3D. The only difference is now is that you have access to the drop dash as Classic Sonic, which, as people know, the drop dash debuted all the way back in Sonic Mania. It is one of the most coolest features they've ever done for Sonic games. I love it. Modern Sonic still plays the same. There are some slight differences with the controls. It plays more like Frontiers, but if you prefer the way that the original game played, you can switch it back to the legacy controls. There's Standard, and then there's Legacy. Standard is the more Sonic Frontier style. Legacy is the OG. One of my other favorite things, which I was complaining about so much when I had no idea about this, is the fact that they've given us the option to turn lives on or keep them off. Now, when you boot up the game, if I remember correctly from booting it up the first time, I'm sure Mizu will probably put, if I showed it in the stream of me first going into the game of Sonic Generations, it probably shows up like, what of customizing the game to your own experience. So at the time I didn't know what that challenge task thing was. The challenge trials things. I forgot what it's properly called. My bad, you guys. This is scripted. So, but as soon as I figured out that I was able to get the lives back on, I was extremely happy. Because for me, when it comes to platformers, I am 100%. I am 100% for them making that an option. If you want them off, if you think that the whole lives and game over stuff is too outdated, which I 100% disagree with, then you can keep it like that if you think it's a good quality of life feature. But if you want, a bit more of a challenge like me, yes, Sonic Generations is a pretty easy enough game. So really, it doesn't really matter what you do about the lives. Just me personally, for me, I prefer it with the lives turned on. So that was really cool. When it comes to the things that they've changed, they changed the story. So as people know, one of the big things that a lot of Sonic fans don't like is the meta humor that Sonic Generations had because of the original writers of that game. So they had Ian Flynn go back to rewrite the script. They still kept some of the iconic lines. Other voice actors came back to redub their lines, especially the new ones that has replaced certain previous ones. So like Knuckles is a new voice actor, Blaze has a new voice actress, SBO has a new voice actor. So, and of course Tails as well has a new voice actress since Kate Higgins left. Being Tails, which her final game was, I believe, was Sonic Lost World. So one other change they did, which this is a little bit controversial, but they did it to match her model in the Shadow Generation side of things. From what I read, they did change Rouge's costume by making it a bit less revealing. Whether that means something to you, that's really up to you. For me, it doesn't. It's not that big. It's not that big of a deal. This isn't the first time they've done this with Rouge's design. Although I am 100% against censorship. It's not that. It's not like they fully changed her costume. They just made the heart part bigger and they covered up her back more. That's all. So it's really not that offensive of a censorship to me to really complain. But me personally, I hope this doesn't start becoming a trend. But if it does, like I said, it's not that big of a deal. It's no different than Tifa's design in Final Fantasy VII Remake, to where they had to put some additional clothing underneath her top. And then, of course, as we learned from Rebirth, as it turns out they didn't censor her at all. So again, if that means something to you, cool. That's really, if you don't pick up the game because of, slight censorship, I all I'm gonna say is I agree to disagree, because it's not that, to me, it's not that offensive looking, and I see a lot of these certain channels complaining about how, like, Sega has, it's like, okay, who cares? The sad thing is times have changed. It's no longer the 90s or the early 2000s anymore. As much as I wish it was, there has been some great things that's happened in modern times that should have happened years ago. But since I'm not a political channel, I'm not going to start talking about politics. Let's see, what else did they change? They took out, from what I can tell, unless it's in the game, they took out the the whole bonus thing to where you can actually play Sonic 1 in Sonic Generations. They took that little bonus content out, unless they have it somewhere else, or like I just haven't checked the store, the skill shop, in a while. But if it was in the game, because in the original game you can see it, it's in Green Hill Zone. You can see a Sega Genesis with Sonic 1 in it. So they took it out, and I think they took it out because of Origins. I mean, it's most definitely because of Origins being out. So let's see, what else did they change? I haven't tried out Supersonic yet. I don't know if there's the energy drain. Maybe Mizu can do some research on that for me or something when she's editing this, and maybe she can let me know. Well, let you all know, or I may just quickly turn on my PS5 and use Supersonic to see, because that was something else that people didn't like, was the fact that if you use Supersonic, it would instantly drain your rings like super quick, and especially when you use the boost. So yeah, the things that I like about the Sonic Generation side of things is I like the fact that I can have lives on if I want to. I like the story changes. I do like the slight redesign to Classic Sonic. I also like the fact that they allow us to pick between the standard controls, aka the Sonic Frontiers controls, or the Legacy controls. Um, you know, Overall, this version of this game to me is the definitive way to play this game. Um, Now naturally, someone may say, like, it's almost close to that, but because of the controversy behind Rouge's design, might be a bit of a stickler point for some people. Like, I know it is. Which again, to my opinion, it's not that really that big of a deal at the end of the day. Um, if that is something that is a bit of a point off on how good this game is, I'm sure that there's a mod out there that probably already exists, or that's about ready to exist, to where you can have Rouge be back with her original design from the original Sonic Generations. And maybe to some people that is the definitive way to play it, Again, I'm not here to judge either side of the argument with that. It's just, for me personally, I'm definitely more in the middle. I'm 100% against censorship, but in this case, it's really not that offensive to me. It's not that big of a deal. She still looks like her. If it, like I said, if it was a big costume full on change, then I would be angry. Um, when it comes to Colleen voicing Tails and Classic Tails, again, I like her voice as Tails. I think she's a massive improvement over Kate Higgins, which I do like Kate Higgins' voice acting. Do I like her tail voice versus the for kids tails voice? Of course, you all know when it comes to the if I had it my way, the four kids voice actors would be back voicing these characters. Well, minus Eggman because it's already the four kids voice actor voicing him. So he's been voicing him since Sonic X, which is nuts. Um, and that's something else I'm not going to get into is the whole controversy behind Mike Pollock's Twitter thing. Again, I'm not a political channel at all, so let's get into the other side of things, the Shadow Generation side of things. Now this part is definitely where I'm gonna talk a bit less on it because I want people to experience it for themselves, but I might come back and do a more detailed spoiler review later on, somewhere down the road, once, this game has been in more circulation. But Shadow Generations is basically the Bowser's Fury of this collection. Sonic Generations is a great game. This new version of it proves that it's an amazing game. I mean, IGN gave it a 9 for crying out loud. And they only give that game to Call of Duty. Well, that rating to Call of Duty. But with Shadow Generations, this is the standout part of it. The story is, my God, this is the best Shadow characterization since 06. The levels that they chose. I love all the levels that they chose for this game. The voice acting is good. The story breaks my heart. The chaos powers are cool to use. The Doom powers, I haven't really played around with them as much, but I will because eventually on stream I will be going to doing everything in Shadow Generation, so I'm gonna have to get good with those Doom powers quick. And Shadow Generations is definitely combining the Sonic Frontiers formula with the Generations formula because you still have the challenge acts, you still have the music notes, but you still have this bonus content that you have to get with keys in the various levels. And the cool part is to get to other areas of the levels, you have to use chaos controls. You have to use chaos control or use doom powers. So there's a lot of different paths you can go on, which was a big worry for people because for some reason, ever since Sonic Forces became a thing, fans have become extremely worried about the games being linear like that. And I think they've learned since then not to do that. I think honestly, I think Sega is doing a really good job since Frontiers, and of course the first Sonic movie as well. Even Superstars, I know that Superstars people either love it or hate it. I think it really is not that bad of a game, so I still consider that a win. The only downer of this renaissance for Sega is that Sonic Origins is definitely was a port that had everything right going forward, but in my opinion, they dropped the ball hard. Why they didn't allow you to turn on the lives for the anniversary mode, I don't get. Especially when the fan versions of those games allow you to do that. Well, the fan ports. And also too, it doesn't help that there's some music in Sonic 3 that kind of makes the game not as nostalgic for a lot of people. but we're here to talk about the Ultimate Life Form. Does this game perfectly captures Shadow the Hedgehog as a character? Does it put respect on his name? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I'm hoping after this, the whole Shadow jokes stop. Although I feel like they have started to stop, luckily. The fact that this is the year Shadow is amazing. And, the next big Sonic thing we're getting is Sonic Movie 3. Unless they, prove me wrong yet again and decide to drop like a teaser trailer for like the next big Sonic game, which I know that they're not going to, but I do believe that they're going to take what they've learned from Shadow Generations and, of course, hopefully Sonic Generations, working on that port will hopefully give Sega inspiration for Sonic Frontiers 2. That's what I'm calling it. Until we have a title, that's what I'm calling it. So yeah, that's it for this non-spoiler review. Definitely go check out the game. If I have to rate it, I gotta be honest, I gotta rate it a full on 10. Oh yeah, and one more thing, they added Chao to all the levels in Sonic Generations. So for all of you Sonic Advance fans out there, what if you've played the third one, you know exactly what that's about. So I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. I'm being biased because Sonic Generations is a very important game to me. It is the game that really started off my current YouTube career. So yeah, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and hit that bell button. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video. Later, guys.